Look, Murphy. I'm on the cover of Time. Trevor, I'm on the cover of Time.
We did the interview in her house, and her mom was there, and her brother was there, and then we brought her father in for an interview, too. Then at one point in the interview, she is talking about, she is remembering, and she breaks down in tears.
The woman he's married to had 2 daughters, and they asked me to move out of the house. And I've never really, like, acknowledged that, but that was bad. Because they loved me and I loved them, and they didn't want me in the house.
The hush in that room, from the camera crew to the producers to the makeup people, said it all. We really felt that we were watching someone very exposed.
I never realized the media frenzy was going to be as big as it was. One of the first times I realized that it was going to be an issue at all was when I was asked not to go to the premiere of Volcano with Ellen. People who supposedly knew me were all of a sudden saying, could you just be a little bit less of who you are for a couple of days? Could you just not show up to a premiere of your movie with your new girlfriend or whatever you want to call it and just sign the deal for your next movie before you are really open about it?
I had never been affectionate in public ever with any of my girlfriends. And Anne went to grab my hand. We're walking down the street. She wanted to hold my hand, and it made me really uncomfortable holding her hand. Even though I'm about to make this huge announcement to the world that I'm gay, I didn't want to hold hands because people would look at me, and it would make them uncomfortable, it would make me uncomfortable, people would stare. And I realized that I still have a sense of shame about who I am. If I can't hold my girlfriend's hand, how am I supposed to say it's okay that I'm gay, but yet I still don't deserve to show affection in public the way other people can show affection?
I think that's when we just started going, okay, this is crazy. Let's tell the world the truth here. I'm not going to hide this anymore. It's even crazy that I even let them usher me out of the theater of my own fucking movie. What is the matter with me?
I talked to the Washington Post that night, and they asked me what I thought. And my reaction was that Ellen and Anne completely lit up that room that night. They were affectionate with each other, but in a completely appropriate way.
And then we meet the president. You know what I mean? Who then says to Ellen, the president says, you're going to be afraid to say this, but I wish I could know exactly. Whisper. What did he say?
He said, I admire you.
I admire you.
It was just simple.
I admire you. Cool.
I was shocked the next morning to read the Washington Post. I thought it was a complete overreaction to some very simple affection between 2 women. And it seemed to sort of reverberate out of the Washington Post story and into the media.
To be photographed with the president and Anne had her arm around me, it was amazing. We had no idea that we started seeing these pictures everywhere and how disrespectful we were to be affectionate in front of the public. She had her arm around me. You know, then the rumors, then that wasn't enough, so everybody had to decide that we were kissing, which we weren't kissing. And so what if we were kissing, but we weren't?
It's not because we're doing something wrong or in your face, it's because that's how affectionate we are.
We thought if we just, you know, put it all out there, people will leave us alone. Instead of, you know, trying to get the picture or get the story. We'll tell you the story. Here's the story. It turned out to completely backfire on us.
Okay, so everybody's thinking you guys are at home, well, not swinging for the chandeliers. What do you do?
Absolutely nothing.
Our lives are so boring.
People were really shocked that I was telling the truth a week after I met Ellen, and didn't believe it was true. And all we kept saying was, time will tell them, you know?
People have to find something wrong with love. And that's what this all boils down to. It's like, you know, how dare you love somebody that I don't think you should love? It's my business who I love. You know, I love a girl. Why does that hurt you? And I'm happy. Why does that hurt you? It's just, I don't know. People are crazy. People are crazy.
The commercial was entitled Shoes, and it was the story of a lesbian who has just been fired from her job.
They fired her?
Yes.
But that isn't fair.
No, it isn't.
It isn't legal.
Yes, it is.
In 41 of our 50 states, a person can be fired just for being lesbian, gay, or bisexual with no legal recourse.
We simply could not get ABC to allow us to do a national buy, and we weren't even extended sort of the simple courtesy of a face-to-face meeting. We know that ABC was being disingenuous about the reasons because they turned down a gay cruise ad shortly after they turned down our ad. What was absolutely clear is the only thing holding ABC back was the fact that the commercials had gay content.
In Alabama, the station manager deciding who's going to be on television. That's really frightening, you know, to know that somebody can say you can't even have the choice of turning it on or turning it off.
I think the public has the right to see it if they want to.
Why not put it on?
You're gay, you're still a person. I mean, there's no reason they should hold that against you.
What kind of dictatorship is this, that somebody can decide what people watch?
In Hollywood, you sort of get a feel. You can tell when a movie's going to open or when a TV show's going to premiere, or even just a party. Sometimes there'll be heat, sometimes there isn't. And they're just started the day or two before. There started to be heat on the episode.
Street, and it was completely blocked off. Someone was having a party on the... Oh, this is sensational. This is really, really terrific.
We had a big party at CAA, and they invited a lot of people to watch it in a huge theater.
I remember seeing Shirley MacLaine there. Sir Ian McKellen was there, and I met him, and that was wonderful.
It was such a thrilling time because it was Ann and Ellen had just gotten together. It was just a couple weeks into their relationship, so I felt like this was such a tabloid sort of moment.
We went into the auditorium to watch the show, and I was sitting down front, and Ellen and Ann were up toward the back, and I turned around and took a picture of them.
It was a huge party. Little did we know that it was going to turn out to be a huge party for the world.
They came by the thousands to watch Ellen come out of the closet.
Viewing parties from coast to coast drew huge enthusiastic crowds. In New York and Los Angeles, parties for GLAAD, the Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation, drew Ellen's castmates. In Birmingham, Alabama, where the local ABC station chose not to air Ellen, over 3,000 people watched the satellite broadcast and partied with pride.
It's been a long time since I've asked anyone what I could watch on television and what I could not watch. There's only one person to whom I defer. Mama, may I watch Ellen tonight? She said yes.
It was weird. I was getting phone calls from people from New York saying that the streets were empty, that places had closed down early. During commercial breaks or after a certain line, you could hear cheering like in New York.
We went back to Ellen's house, hung out, and just talked. I think by the end of the show, Ellen was just exhausted. But what an amazing catharsis for her that must have been, and I'm sure it was just exhausting by the time it finally aired. She was just ready to take a nap for a few days.